My people, welcome back to Zoe Life Live. I'm your host, Dame Zoe, and today we're just gonna talk about being straight up slapped. I mean, you ever seen somebody get punk slapped or like backhand slap? Just a backhand like slapped on the top of the head and then slapped in the chin, like uppercut slap. You ever seen that? You ever seen like a big old two-handed slap, like two hands slap you both in the face at the same time? That's the type of slap we're talking about. Now, for real though, we're talking about turning the other cheek. So listen, um, this has been a topic of heated debate over the years and discussion because, and I would even say it's kind of, that scripture has kind of helped people to, it's kind of pushed some people away from Christianity because people see it as you can't defend yourself. And can I let you know that God is not against self-defense? This scripture has nothing to do with self-defense. Um, it's simply turning the other cheek. Okay, and I'll explain it to you. Now, first we have to understand that Jesus, like he said, he came to fulfill the law of Moses, right? He didn't come to contradict the law of Moses, but to fulfill the law. That's what he said. So when he says, you have heard it said, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, but I tell you, if someone slaps you, turn to them the other cheek. He's fulfilling that law, and I will tell you how. So basically, when Jesus, a lot of his principles that he taught really were going against the common thought of that day. Okay, the principles, and to really show you the spirit of the law or what was really intended by the law. So when Moses gave the commandment, hey, if two people are fighting and one puts out an eye, then you need to put out his eye for an eye, tooth for tooth, or whatever would have you, somewhere along those lines. I think I repeated it verbatim, maybe not. If I haven't, then forgive me. Um, it is a scripture that really points to judicial punishment. All right, it speaks as of criminal justice, if you will. And what Moses is saying is, let the punishment fit the crime. That's all. Today we would interpret that as if someone goes and steals a hamburger from McDonald's, say you just grab the bag and walk off. Hopefully they won't give you 100 years in jail for that. Now you might need 100 years in jail because that would mean you're incredibly stupid. But that was a joke, y'all. Um, Now, if someone goes and kills 5 or 6 people, then yeah, they would need 100 years in jail for that because the punishment is fitting the crime. All right, versus somebody who goes and maybe commits 10 robberies and they get 10 days in jail. No, that punishment does not fit that crime. You understand? So it's basically a law that is saying let the punishment fit the crime. But people got out of control with it, right? Because the nature of man is sinful. So the nature of man will take the law and use that as a way to have vengeance. And we still do it today, right? We'll say, oh, well, yeah, they did this, and so I did it. I gave it to them harder. They went and did this to my yard, so I went and got his yard back. Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. That's not really what it means. Okay, so what Jesus is saying is, let the punishment fit the crime. And sometimes there was no need to retaliate. He came to challenge the human need for always getting retaliation and having vengeance in your heart. Okay? And Christ said, Christ was all about love. All right, love and the spirit of the law. Now, does that mean you can't slap somebody back? Absolutely, it does not mean you can't slap nobody back. I'll give you an example. If somebody knocks on your door and slaps you and tries to walk into your house and break in your house, I will hope you'll slap them back. Please slap them back. Slap them for me too. Say, here, this for Dame Zoe. Boom, smack. Okay, yeah, I'm slapping them. If I get a knock on my door and I open my door and somebody pushes me, smacks me, try to force their way in, I'm gonna slap them, kick them, punch them. I'm gonna do all of that to get you away from my premises. And I think God would expect that from you. God would expect you to defend your home and defend your family. Okay? Versus if somebody's like 85-year-old grandmother with Alzheimer's, came up to you and smacked you, I would really hope you would not smack her back, fellas, especially if you're a guy. Come on now. I mean, I would really hope you have enough class in you to just turn the other cheek. Or even better, just walk away. Because I know you'll be heated. Just walk away, all right? So basically what Christ is saying is you might slap the person back, you might not. Sometimes you might just turn the other cheek. Or basically what he's saying is don't always think of retaliation. Let God fight your battle sometimes. You know, you got somebody trying to talk about you on the job, trying to embarrass you, trying to get you fired. Sometimes it's good to just be quiet and let God fight that battle. You know, what did Christ say? Examine my works, for they testify of me. And the problem with most of us is we run around trying to tell everybody who we are. And trying to prove that we're not what somebody else said that we are. Instead of just saying, I'm going to let them examine my works and let my works testify of me. And I'm going to let that one go. You know what? I'm just going to leave that to God. Now, does that mean you can't does not mean that you can't defend yourself? Absolutely not. There is a time for everything. Sometimes there is a time to approach somebody, you know, in a healthy, loving way, or just even in like a respectful way, you know, to get a problem worked out. Sometimes it's to that person's benefit that you talk to them about it. But don't always run to try to get vengeance. Don't always try to, oh, they embarrass me, I'm gonna go and embarrass them back. You know, I would even say, hey, depending on the situation, somebody physically strikes you, you don't always have to strike them back. Sometimes you got to be smarter than that, fellas. You know, if you know this cat is crazy and he's carrying, you know what I mean? We're not gonna get into all that, but hey, it may be smarter just to be like, you know what, I'm a step off, you know, because I don't want the situation to turn into something that everybody here is gonna regret. And I'm gonna be the bigger man. You know, so in certain situations, you got to think, you got to be smart. There's room for love. There is a time to defend yourself, and there's a time to turn the other cheek, especially if it's not even worth it. Come on, y'all. This person that's telling lies on you, is this person really a threat? I was in a situation one time on the job where I knew people were telling lies on me, trying to make me look bad, right? Because I had the highest sales in the store. So they're telling lies on me, trying to make me look bad and, you know, all this other stuff. You know what I did? I ignored it. You know, I've been yelled at to my face by a manager before in front of the whole store. What did I do? I ignored it. And it was bad, y'all. What did I do? Of course, now there was a conversation that took place right then and there. But I didn't run off and go off on a tangent and run to this person, that person. I said, you know what? I'm gonna let God deal with that one. And there is a time to let God deal with it, y'all, because the enemy is always waiting to set you up in a trap and to make you walk out on a limb. And now you done hurt somebody, and now you have to pay the price for that. So, can I leave you with this? Sometimes people just don't know who it is they're messing with. They don't know. What did Christ say? Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Now, is that not the example of meekness, y'all? Meekness is not being a punk. Meekness is restrained power. That's all it is. A mature man knows how to be meek or when to be meek. A mature man knows that. Sometimes people just don't know who they're messing with. So I would say sometimes it's best to turn the other cheek. Sometimes it's best to walk away and leave it up to God. Don't always seek revenge, especially if that person is not even a threat, y'all. Why? Because it is time for us to live the abundant life. Welcome to the Zoe Life Live Revolution. Facebook.com/ZOE Life Live, or go to YouTube and type in Zoe Life Live. Please rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'm out.